time. I'm having some horrible luck on YouTube, man. Horrible. Um, but I'm gonna stick to the topic, and I'm gonna revamp it. Selfishness is the root of all evil. So I've been online, social media, listening to stuff, and stuff I've been listening to, whether it be gender war material, relationship material, or financial material, political material, the racism rhetoric, um, it's all been rooted in selfishness. And just hit one and let me know you hear me, because last time, it's like you ain't hear me, and I didn't even know until the end. But so what happened was, at the end of the day, you're out here looking at people on social media basically saying in a multitude of ways that the world is only good if they get their way and they get what they want out of a situation, and somebody else uh, gets screwed because somebody else does the heavy lifting. What's up, Wizard? So, I was listening to somebody do the relationship thing, and they talked about, a man needs to be a provider, and he needs to pay all the bills. And shout out to Great Black Shark. He sent me something too. The lady was talking about that, and the comedian Shula King was like, "Shut your broke ass up," and that's an issue. That's an issue. Like, you got people who they really don't want a provider. They want somebody to pay all their bills so they can spend their money on themselves, and somehow say that's a relationship. And that is not a relationship. You're just selfish. And the more you talk about this type of selfishness online, the more people are going to go, oh, I'm not messing with this person. That's partially the reason why most of y'all are perpetually single, because y'all look at relationships as, oh, do everything for me, and I'ma just, I'ma just be out here. What's going on, Blue? So now you got that issue, you know. Then I've seen guys play the I'm a man, I'm an alpha male game too. And the game of, you know, I got money or I'm fly, whatever. And because of that, I could do whatever I want. And it's like, no, fam, you gonna be out here. You say, I got money, so I can be in a relationship and be a cheater. It's like, no, something gonna happen. You should be single if you're gonna do that. Like, if you're gonna be single and you're gonna have money and you gonna have a bunch of chicks, that's cool. Do not get in a relationship and go, oh, I could do whatever I want. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And she gonna be sitting at home waiting on me. Not gonna happen. You're gonna get played at the end of the day, because nobody's signing up for that. So I'm just being fair and balanced. I see less of the guys pulling that stunt now on social media than I've done over the years. So I see more of the ladies being the, you got to take care of me for nothing. That's what I see. Um, then, you know, the other thing I see at the end of the day is when they got this political stuff going on. So you got these guys. Basically, if I'm a conservative or a Republican, I want all the laws in my dang. I want all the laws in my favor. You know what I mean? So everything needs to be in my favor, my way. That way, I can get everything out of the society that I want. That's what it is, you know. And all of a sudden, screw who doesn't matter if I screw other people over because we don't have the same political ideology. We don't vote the same. So who cares what they think? And who cares if it destroys them, right? And then you got people, liberals, Democrats, the exact same premise. Hey man, I want what I want, and I don't care if it ruins some things in your life or because you don't vote how I vote or you don't believe in the ideology I believe. And it's like, yeah, just keep creating enemies. And then you have, the people who are, sometimes slowly or at this point fast are bailing on both parties and looking at it like, oh, it really has nothing to do with the political party. You're just using politics to figure out a way to get a check for yourself and screw everybody else. So even if you're on the right or on the left, you're not really looking out for the other people on the right and the left. You're just looking for leverage to get a big check for yourself. So you're gonna have beef with the world at this point. So that's the other thing, because it's selfish. And then you can take this to the religious aspect, whether it be Christianity, like in America, Christianity, Islam, heck, even atheism, which is it's a religion of not believing in a religion, right? Judaism, I forgot. This idea of, you know, God only loves me. God's only blessing me. And God only cares about the people that are in my religion. And it's like, you're stupid. So what you're saying is the God that you believe in that loves everybody goes, well, you're Jewish, God don't love you. Or you're Christian, God don't really love you. Or you're Muslim, God don't really love you. So let me get this right. Or, you're atheist. God don't even exist, so God don't love you. And this is where it goes wrong. God don't have a religion. Like common sense. Like, who told you? Like, God never said I'm a Muslim. God never said I was a Christian. God never said I'm a Jew. God never said that. Sorry. I know y'all people nowadays, y'all play the Jesus is God. Because Jesus is God. Because in my dumb mind, Jesus said Jesus is the Son of God. And so the Son of God and the Holy Spirit are like one. So they make Jesus one with God. So he is God. So it's like, oh, okay. Keep believing it. It's not right, but keep believing it. But even with the Jewish part, we're the chosen people. Jesus wasn't Jewish. Jesus was a Hebrew. See, when people go Abrahamic religions, Jesus was the same thing that Moses was, a Hebrew. It's not, that's why you hear the people call themselves Hebrew Israelites now, because they get it. He just was a Hebrew. He wasn't Jewish. He wasn't a Christian. He wasn't a Muslim. But whatever brings you closer to God, that's your business, right? But the idea that God loves you more than other people, and God say, and now you got enemies over here for whatever reason, and you go, God is on my side and killing y'all. Yeah, no, that's not the religion you own. He said they think Jesus is the white man. I mean, our Father who art in heaven, his name is Art. So because of that, people became selfish. Like God is in my corner, but God's not in your corner. You know, y'all are praying for y'all success and praying for people downfall at the same time. God help me win and make sure they lose. In Jesus' name, amen. No, that's not. Hey, yeah, okay. And y'all believe, he saw, he felt. If you win, our prayers came through. And if you lose, then what? You know. That's why I says like the selfishness is crazy. And then, you know, boy, I got to do it. Like I'm gonna get into the racial stuff, but um, well, screw it. I get into the racial stuff now. The racial aspect of America is the same thing. If you're white, the history has shown, you know, all the work and ingenuity from everybody else and even other white people is for certain white people to reap the benefits. So America is supposed to be good for, white people who steal other people's ideas and white people who come up with their own ideas. And everybody else is supposed to suffer. Like, oh, man, you invented something, but hey, you're not white. So everybody else makes the money off of it. Okay. All right. This is what we doing? Okay. And it's to the point where all of the innovative people, especially in my community, we learned our lesson a long time ago. We got an idea, unless we got every I dotted and T crossed, we're gonna keep it to ourselves. That's what's gonna happen. So you really haven't seen ingenuity in America in forever and a day. And why am I talking about this? Because they say America is a capitalist country, and America will do anything for $1. That's the history of America. America will, will well, I was about to say some things I think they banned on YouTube. So America let you enslave your own children if it'll make $1, as long as they don't look like you, right? America let you redline and blockbust and eminent domain and run a highway through people's business districts. America let you, you know, what do you call that? What do you call that? Play games with fair housing, and interest rates. As long as you can screw over somebody, it's on for $1. And if you on the right, and if you on the side of making money, and you can screw another person for $1, that's what America's about. And that's good, right? It's a good thing. What is that? Greed is good from back in the day. America let you, you steal from people's retirements. Not a big deal. Long as you bought yourself a Lamborghini and them people is poor and suffering, they shouldn't have been suckers for your scam. That's how it go. So it's selfishness. Now the interesting thing is about what I'm saying at this point, it's funny to me because, you know, they say, what is the old quote? The house always wins. The casino is set up to beat you up for all your money, but if you start beating the casino, they might ban you. So America is like a casino. If you win in America, they might ban you. They might ban you. They might, that's not how the game's supposed to go. So capitalism is about the rich getting rich and the poor getting poor. Why do I bring that part up too? Is because that's what your politicians and you'll say the wealthy business class or the corporate class. That's why the government hasn't fixed the deficit and don't intend to fix the deficit. You get what I'm saying? $37 trillion deficit, and it keeps rising. I saw Stephen A. Smith say this earlier. They take taxes out your check all the time, all the time, and you ain't and nobody has seen that deficit go down. Nobody. Nobody. But you seen these politicians keep voting for their own raises, keep fighting to be in office, keep, insider trading, keep having these backroom deals where they get a check, but their constituents are just, you know, thrown under the bus. And and the rich keep getting richer. And they've told you before, the middle class is shrinking. And the middle class keeps shrinking. And the cost of living keeps rising. And now, you know, what, in a few months, your health insurance is going to go up. Why? Because, you know, somehow, some way, just like every other company in America, oh man, it looks like either Americans are dying or Americans can't afford the high cost of stuff. So what you have is these corporations not profiting like they used to. And they're not gonna just, we had 1 million customers, so we're accustomed to making, I don't know, let's just say 800, $1 million a year. Let's just say that. Every customer is an average of $800, right? Well, let's just do 600. You got 1 million customers at $600 yearly a piece. You know, that I just thought about that. But let's just, I said 1 million times 600, you know, is 600 million. So now we're gonna play this game where, oh man, 100,000, 200,000 customers died or left. So now you got 800,000 customers. So what are we gonna do? We just lost, you know, just 20% of our yearly revenue. Okay, you know, what's up, Ray? What's up, Frame? So now, oh, here you go. But so now you have a situation where you lost 10, 20% of your customers. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna raise the rate on the other 80 to 90%. So we're gonna keep making this 600 because we're gonna make these other people pay for it. And then it's like, oh, okay, you know. So that's the same thing with the car insurance. The car insurance went up, because less people had cars. That's literally what's going on. Less people had cars because of, poverty, because of the rising cost of cars, because of repos, because of Uber and Lyft. So, in some cities because of transportation, like you could just get on the train in some places. Every place is not like New York, but some places, if you live in the right place, you don't need a car like as much. Mm-hmm. Exactly, frame runner. So you got the same thing with these the health insurance company doing the same thing. So now it's like, hey man, we got to make this money, and nobody's saying anything. And unfortunately, there's going to be people who lose their health insurance because they can't afford it, or they downsize, and then they downsize the coverage. And when they downsize the coverage, some people going to get caught in that trap because they're going to really need it. And then, the copay going to be too much, and yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And people going to lose their life. And then the insurance company going to be like, well, I guess we get to raise the rates on the other people. And then they're going to be Luigi Maggioni all over again. And the politicians go, people, you shouldn't be going crazy because these insurance companies pay us to tell you to chill out. It ain't gonna go well for them politicians either. That's just how it's gonna go. Like I said, it's the selfishness. I was looking at something, and speaking of, thinking you can outsmart somebody. we used to have this thing in the Black Manosphere, the Pookies and Ray Rays versus the educated lame. So, but I'm gonna morph this a little bit. You know, you have a situation where people who consider themselves smart, intellectually smart people, think they can think they're smarter than people who are hands-on smart. And what you find in yourself, what you're about to find out is, you know, if you think you're smart because you can outthink somebody, or trick somebody, using words and ambiguity, contractually, you're gonna find out what's gonna really happen in the near future. Is those people are gonna go, okay, okay, so you tricked me, with you tricked me and set me up. Congratulations. So you know how to play games with paper and words. Well, I know how to hunt, and I'm an ingenious hunter. I know how to track people. I'm an ingenious tracker. So what does that mean? It's gonna turn into taking. I have a specific set of skills. You were smart enough to screw me over. I'm smart enough to chase you down. You get what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand. Like, it's getting to that point. That's what I was uh, um, going back to the whole racial thing. When you hear this situation where people, you know, they're playing this racial game or whatever. A lot of you guys who have racist tendencies and ideologies, um, y'all are really not built for the race war y'all want. And I don't know why y'all think that you're gonna do some stuff to black people or whatever, and we're gonna play right into your hand. And like, y'all think because y'all are racist, y'all live by y'all stereotypes. Y'all even created the stereotype and delusion of how we gonna respond to your racism, which is not gonna be that. We're not gonna respond in the way you think. That and so your plan that you got in your head is not gonna work. You know, he said Jesus was half black. I don't even know where that came from. You know, Jesus was half black. Well, if Jesus was half black, that means he was whole black, cause he only came because that means his mama was black. They say his daddy don't have a race, so he was all black. But you know, is there no one coming to save us? But that's a whole other thing. And I appreciate you saying that, TJ, about the coming to say. Um, when I say selfishness is the root of all evil, part of selfishness is also being dependent on other people. And when you're dependent on other people, you have an entitlement that they're going to, somebody else is going to do it. You know, and it's not anybody's responsibility to save everybody. It's not. It's not. They'll have. No, 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 no. Wizard, I ain't even talking about uh, uh, the rhetoric. I'm talking about the physical activity. Like, these people actually think they're gonna, you know. And I hate to break the news to y'all. I'm gonna expand on what I'm talking about too. Um, there's a certain selfishness in believing that your stereotype of people is true because you need to feel like you're better than somebody. And so you have a stereotype of people that I need to have this stereotype to make me believe that I'm better than this other person. And because I believe I'm better than this other person, that means you don't have to be better than this other person. What's up, Callus? No, oh, I ain't even worried about happiness. Like that, like truth be told, happiness is just, I'm grown. Happiness is something that adults who want to still be children want. Happiness isn't a real thing. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. Happiness is not, happiness is an inside job. The world can't make you happy. People can't make you happy. Nothing in life can make you happy but yourself. Happiness is not nobody else's responsibility. And if you get, and nobody could give it to you, and nobody could take it away from you. That's just what that is. Yeah, content. Be content. Be peaceful. Yeah, but and that's a part of people. Like people have this thing where, and it works. If I can get into your emotions, I can control you. And manipulative people use emotions as a way to get people to do stuff that they don't want to do themselves. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard to control a person who is content. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the part of quote unquote selfishness. People out here, yeah, as long as they like people out here tripping. Have you found? He said, "Have you ever found your purpose of life?" I don't care about purpose of life. That's just video. That's honestly, fam, that's video game stuff to me. That's just what it like. You choose what your purpose of life is. It ain't to be. You ain't got to search for it. You ain't got to. You ain't. It's not a Easter egg hunt. It's not Zelda. If that's an old video game. Let y'all know how old I am. It's not a quest for the Dragon Balls. You know, your purpose is your choice. You're responsible for your purpose. Nobody else. And sometimes, that messes people up because when you go looking for your purpose, you'll never find it. You'll never find it. You know, when I'm, when I'm hungry, my purpose is to find some food. When I'm thirsty, my purpose is to get some water. You know, a lot of times we're in this situation where, and that's why I was talking about social media. And I ain't being a jerk when I say this. It's a lot of slogans on social media that people shouldn't listen to. You know, you know, it's, there's a lot of beliefs that you shouldn't listen to. And a lot of the fake inspiration people give you on social media is based in selfishness. So, when you look at all of that content, whether it be religious content, and inspirational content, motivating content, they made it because they know people feel bad and insecure. And if I make you feel better, you'll come back to this page and click on these videos and get me some views. It's, and sometimes, it's like, you don't understand, you can't help everybody. Some people do have a genuine, sincere want to help people. But most of these people on social media, most of us on social media, we don't. We looking for the paper. He said some people's purpose is to take care of their family while others is just to pay the bills. Purpose is not something that is as mystical or spiritual like in the movies make. Yeah, I get it. Even with that, it sucks, man, to say some of these things sometimes when I think about it. But we we're living in a world where people are looking for something that's inside of them, and that's the truth. There, everything you're looking for in this world is inside of you. Everything you want to be and do starts with inside of you. It's not outside of you. You don't need somebody else for that. You don't. Brother, X, what's up? I hope you're doing well, brother. I really hope you're doing well. You know, well, and getting to this, selfishness part, the reason I say why selfishness is the root of all evil is because the vast majority of people are wasting their lives and trying to figure out a way to get somebody to make their life important. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to email you again. I got my phone stolen a few months back, so I gotta get the number again. Yeah, half of my numbers missing out this joint. It, it's pretty women can't. It ain't just about the pretty women, though, man. Like the pretty women who are on social media, I don't even care if they're pretty. If you're pretty or you're ugly, if you selfish, look, ain't nobody worried about you because it's not a thing at this point. Like we living in a world where the truth is coming to pass because most of the world gonna be broke. So whether you like it or not, people are not gonna have the time and the money to feed into people's dreams and aspirations. People ain't got the time to fake like they got money to sell you a dream to get something out of you. You know, that's the whole tricking concept. People was tricking because they were selfish. I ain't got the time to be out here, loving on somebody. Let me get a couple dollars and get what I need, and let me get a couple dollars to this next chick. It's ridiculous. Now, let me get into this social media part though. The crux of this issue that I have is this. When you're on social media watching this stuff, people don't see the people who are out of their mind and just self-centered, all the hell, and it's all about them. They don't see how crazy they are. But I gotta admit, it looks like they get a lot of views and they got a lot of interaction. So that means they got a lot of people who think just like that. It's a lot of, all this, it's all about me. It's all about me. I got to do this and they need to do this for me and I'm entitled to this. It's a lot of people who believe that. And they are really on social media and they really nuts. They really crazy in the mug. And and most people say it's okay. Most people think it's really okay. It's like it's cool. And here's the problem. The irony of this is selfishness became entertaining. Just like humor became entertaining and drama is entertaining, selfishness became entertaining. And selfishness could be your algorithm, and now you spewing all that selfish stuff. You remember how the sprinkle thing, selfish stuff. And I ain't and no disrespect to Kevin because he passed. The way some of you cats was using I'm a high value man was selfish. Selfish as hell. I'm a high value man, so that means you gonna have to do everything for me. It's like, shut up. You ain't even a high value man, dog. You tripping. Drizzle. Yeah. Now, like all of this stuff, like even with the whole thing, the whole Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA thing, is built in selfishness. I'm white, and as a white person, I should have first dibs on everything, and I should have second dibs, and third dibs, and fourth dibs, and fifth dibs, and I should have the whole piece of the pie and give you some crumbs to make me feel like I'm, what do you call it, benevolent. And people go, oh, okay. Yeah, you believe that? Oh, okay. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. Oh, okay. Mm. You shouldn't be walking around talking that disrespectful stuff, and it look like you've never done 2 push-ups in your life. You know. Mm. Andrew Tate, fresh and fit. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest when I say this. Just when it comes to relationships, you probably are better off listening to Andrew Tate than Fresh and Fit, because at least you know Andrew Tate messes with women. Fresh and Fit did a lot of tricking and prostitution type of sugar baby type of things. They weren't really dating anybody. You know what I'm saying? They just two guys who you would consider incels with a show. But that's why they show was so big, because there's a gang of people out here that was incels who had a million reasons to think they was better than and I hate to break it, club girls. Yeah, if you're not a club goer and you like if you're not a nightlife type of guy, cool. You better than the girls that's in the nightlife. Cool. Like, but if you ain't going out, what does it matter? I'm better than these girls out here partying and drinking. And what are you doing? I'm at home. Y'all ain't even in the same atmosphere. So why are we talking about this? How about you know, find, talk to somebody who's like you? It just didn't make sense. He said, Kevin wasn't a grifter. You know, Kevin was just an amalgamation of a lot of the stuff the brothers was talking about in the Black Manosphere. And we knew at some point one of us was going to do that. He was just the one who did it. That's it. That's literally what it was. Oh, it sticks to my topic. He just exposed selfishness. When y'all was seeing them people on his show the same way they're on Kendra G's show, the same way, they just selfish. I want somebody that make a whole lot of money and my life messed up, and I need somebody who got a whole lot of money so they could take care of me, and I don't ever have to do nothing again in life because I deserve a better life than the life that I gave myself. And the person is not gonna be he ain't good for me unless he can save me from me. It's like, okay, okay, ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Yeah, it has been a cash grab, but but I gotta admit, the cash grab worked. It worked. You know, I'm about to get into something. I'm about to get into the family part of this. Why I say selfishness is the root of all evil. Man, listen, just rock with me on this for a second. Family has this dynamic where you got family members that really got to get it out the mud, and family members who everybody been looking out for. And what happens is when everybody grows up and becomes an adult, you're gonna have grown family members who the family still need to take care of. And you're gonna have grown family members who off on their own, holding their own in the world, and at some point, the family that's always been looked out for is gonna try to start to lean on the family that's been taking care of the business on their own. Because they feel like, hey man, family's supposed to look out for each other. No, no, no. What you mean is you're lazy and you're selfish, and people let you live off of them. So when them people died or them people couldn't afford it no more, you're looking for somebody else to live off of. That's what that is. Same thing. And I hate to say this, and I tried to say this at another time. Same thing, unfortunately with the young adults in America now. I get it. The cost of living is high. Um, apartments high, car notes high, everything high, right? And y'all getting high. Uh, but the problem is what? Selfishness. Why? Yeah, I gotta check this out when I get off here. Uh, the problem is this because at the end of the day, you got an issue where your parents were selfish. I'm gonna tell you how. A lot of you folks who's like your parents, like I want to give you a better childhood than me. A lot of there are too many parents out here who they didn't want they wasn't raising themselves. I mean, they wasn't raising their kids. They was raising themselves all over again and trying to give themselves, give you what they didn't get for themselves. And all it did was spoil the kid. That's it. It spoiled the kid, and now the kid don't know how to actually work hard. And then the parent go, man, why this kid he ain't got no work ethic? They, they lack this, they lack that. And that's why I saw this guy, he was talking about New York. He said, man, poverty in New York is different. You got these you got these people in New York, they ain't got $5 in their pocket, but they got $1,000 outfit on. He said, but I go to Buffalo, if you broke, you broke. Like, yeah. But it's a priority situation. So, yeah, like we've gotten to that point in society where, families, have taught you that expensive items make you important. So as long as you got the flash stuff on or the expensive stuff in your possession, that makes you important. It's like, no, you're just an idiot. You could have got some cheaper stuff and had some money in your pocket. But instead, you dead broke looking like you got money. Looking for somebody to finesse to get money out of them. It don't make no damn sense. You know, it don't make no sense, but it's the reality. You know, but going back to the kids, and the selfishness. Oh my goodness. We at this point where the young folks they can't take care of themselves. And it's not from an older perspective, from a perspective that was broker than y'all. It looks like y'all could make it, but y'all don't want to start at a janky apartment. Y'all don't want to ride a janky car. Y'all don't want to have janky furniture. You get what I'm saying? And here's where I gotta get cold blooded. It's weird because somebody like me who, I came from the hood. I've seen too many suburban kids who want to be hood, but you don't want to be broke like we is in the hood though. You want to be hood in the streets, but you don't want to be hood in where you live at. You know, and it's like, hey man, yeah, it goes with the territory. You too good to be hood. When it comes to how your living arrangement, your dress code, oh, I'm hood as a mug. You know, I just because a lot of y'all don't get it. Like we couldn't afford all these tattoos y'all got. We couldn't afford all these clothes y'all got. Real talk. We couldn't afford these cars y'all got. You wasn't seeing people. Let me tell you something. There is just like y'all said, ain't no equivalent to 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 y'all could buy a house. We can't. That's true. But we couldn't buy no damn we wasn't buying no Hellcats, partner. There was no equivalent to y'all generation buying Hellcats and Scat Packs. you know, there is no there is no equivalent to that. There is no we Chrome Heart. Like we're not buying that. We couldn't afford. No, 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 no. He said boomers. I'm Gen X, so I'm telling you, dog. There is no equivalent, G. There is none. Like like that's why I say it's the selfishness. It kind of goes both ways. And even with the boomer thing, I'm one of the people who brought that up years ago. Have I grown since then? Yeah. Did the boomers mess a lot up? Yeah. 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 But in all honesty, I hate to say it this way. People are waiting to live off the boomers. It ain't gonna happen. Y'all, I tried to tell y'all before. Some of y'all waiting on the boomers to die to inherit stuff. Y'all ain't gonna inherit much. I know it's gonna be a wealth transfer of billions of dollars. No, it's not. No, it's not. It never dawned on a lot of folks that y'all don't know these boomers' bills. Y'all really don't. You know. Right. Yeah, I get you, beige. Even the guys who like, even with that, with this, even with the trapping lifestyle, most let me be real. The stereotype of drug dealers. If you dealt drugs in the '90s and up, you probably broke. If you was a thief from the '90s and up, you probably broke. If you was a pimp from the '90s and up, you probably broke. All the money was out of there. Because if you didn't have a plug by then, you was done. The charges got too high, the plugs got too scarce. We wasn't seeing, multi-millionaire drug dealers in the '90s. That's just not what it was. I mean, that's why, truth be told, that's why the motherfuckers was rapping. That's why they was rapping. You know, y'all think these people's out here, man, I'm getting money. No, no. These guys wasn't out here getting money. They tell you they was getting money, but the '80s was pretty much the height of that. And the reason that why I tell you the '80s was the height of that is because the cost of living in the '80s was crazy. That's why. You make $100,000 in the '80s as a drug dealer. You got to remember the expensive cars was like, you can get an expensive car for way cheaper than that. Yeah, it was way cheaper. It was way cheaper. Y'all better look. Them BMWs, uh, they had the 3 Series and the 1 Series in the '80s. They had the Saab and the Audis, and they was all real small cars. Them niggas wasn't buying them huge ass cars. Tell them KG, like it didn't make sense. People overplayed that. They overplayed that persona. And speaking of that, let me bring this up too. Um, God, I hate to do this. For everybody who think like, swag took you somewhere, or swag, or I'm cooler than everybody. You see how that's died, right? You see how that's died. I was talking to a homeboy at the gym. I said, hey man, he was like, man, I never liked Jay Z. I said, man, listen, you might not like Jay Z, but Dame Dash don't look so entertaining right now, does he? That whole mentality, that belief that because I'm cooler than you, I'm flyer than you, I'm hooded than you, I feel like I'm more street than you, then I'm better than you. Man, if you don't get your goofy ass out of here, you could wake up tomorrow and be 50 and still talk about I'm cool. But I'm cool though. You know, coolo and coolo don't sound too much different. That's the other part of that, man. So people gotta watch that stuff, man. It's that same, I'm better than you by birth. I'm better than you because God smiled down on me and I'm the one and you not type of belief. Yeah, that sounds good until you got to put it to action. There's a thin line between confidence and arrogance, and the social media has shown you, you know, people gravitate to arrogance. Confidence in yourself doesn't mean confidence in your abilities is different from I'm confident. I'm so confident I'm gonna just get something from nowhere because I'm just that fly. That don't look that dies out at a certain age. It looks stupid. But going back to it, man, the selfishness of it, like there's a lot of people who just believe they better than people. Just I believe I'm better than you. I was looking at a clip earlier today because one of the guys, they had that podcast where when Michael Irvin went off on them guys when they said that Deion Sanders probably isn't probably couldn't do good in this era when Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin couldn't do good in this era of football, and one of the guys that was in that podcast was talking to Brandon Jacobs. And if y'all remember who Brandon Jacobs is, he's the huge running back that used to be on the New York Giants with when they was winning Super Bowls. The really big running back from Louisiana. And dude said, man, he's like, if 5 yards, I smack you. And Brandon Jacobs said, boy, I will. I'll run you over, dog. And he's like, bro, you ain't never met nobody like me. He's like, you played college, yeah. Yeah, I met big people like you in the arena. He's like, I wasn't in arena football. I was in the NFL for 9 years. You ain't running nobody like me. And I'm like, yeah, you get yourself broken in half, you know. Right. Some marketing, that's dope. Yeah. Man, ain't no such thing as self-made in America, man. Like, and thank you for saying that, babe, so I can get into that. Travis Hunter, no, Deion Sanders would not be Travis Hunter today. Deion Sanders would be on Deion Sanders today. That's just the reality of it. That's just like saying Randy Moss would be Randy Moss today. Jerry Rice would be Jerry Rice today. But let me just get to this real quick when he did the self-made thing. Nobody in America is self-made. Never. Think about it. the people who came from Spain, Britain, France, Portugal, they came to this side of the globe and couldn't make themselves. They killed off people, they raped people, they went back to Africa, they enslaved the people here and went back to Africa to get more people because they couldn't make it themselves. People had slaves, couldn't make it themselves, right? After slavery was over, Jim Crow couldn't make it themselves. You get what I'm saying? All these businesses were built on the back of somebody else. All of these Fortune 500 companies were all built not on somebody who's self-made, but somebody who needed a bunch of people to make them. Even up to the day when we talk about Jeff Bezos, Amazon was invested in by multiple millionaires and billionaires for years until it made a profit. You get what I'm saying? There's nobody in this country that's self-made. Nobody. Because all of these corporations who got money from 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 other people's work over the decades and over the centuries, they were just investing in people to make them more money. And those people got rich and they started doing the same thing. You know, is a large amount startup. Where'd you get the startup from? Either you got it from your family who wasn't self-made, or you got it from an angel group who are a bunch of investors who wasn't self-made. You get what I'm saying? Is it that's his startup? Yeah, he got the 300,000 whatever startup, but the, the company was always in debt. That company was in debt for like 10 or 20 years. It was always lost. It was no profit for a good minute, and there were other millionaires and billionaires who kept investing in them to keep the business because the business kept growing. You know what I'm saying? Most of your um, most of your prominent business people in America aren't self-made. Thomas Edison was using other people's inventions. You know what I'm saying? When y'all think about Donald Trump, he got that from his dad, who got who had other who was in construction, who had other people working with him and for him. Nobody never people come here. I came here with $3. You came here with $3 and you got a loan from somebody. You didn't come here with $3 or $5 and just have a job as a dishwasher or a cab driver for 5 to 10 years, and then woke up one morning with 6 figures and then put that into a business, or even 5 figures and put that into a business, and all of a sudden you were just knocking on doors and cold calling everybody and marketing yourself on a grassroots level, and then your business blew up. Cut the lie. Cut it out. That's not what happened. The best shortcut you got is somebody famous came to your establishment one day and they liked you and they kept coming back. You know what I'm saying? Why y'all hit Jacob the Jeweler? Jacob the Jeweler, oh man, drug money. BMF was one of his first and biggest clients in the beginning because they like jewelry. But, right. That startup business yeah, they might have a 7-year tax break, but where you get the money for the business? You see what I'm saying? Somebody got the business. Somebody had to get a loan from somewhere. People didn't just come over here cash in pocket and just start a business. They got a loan. And even with that 7-year tax break thing, what do they normally do? In year 7, you know, they give the business to a cousin so they can have a 7-year tax break. Get a business to another cousin, then give a business to a son, then give the business to a nephew, then get. So ultimately, these people are playing games. You know, that's what's happening. And America can't say nothing about it because what? The vast majority of these quote unquote American corporations, you know, got offices overseas to have different tax breaks from another country because they don't want to pay taxes in America. Your biggest corporations in America really don't pay taxes. What that tell you? But all the employees in America pay taxes. You know, this is this is how it's run. It's selfish. You know, you remember when they had the PPP loan thing, and the PPP loan thing, you remember the Lakers could file for a PPP loan, and they did until people were like, "What the hell, the Lakers doing with a loan?" Yeah, most of the teams in the NFL, I think even in the MLB, are nonprofits. Billions dollar brands and companies not under the nonprofit category, like a church. Just like churches are nonprofits, but pastor somehow got a salary. Somehow pastor got a salary, and the bigger the church, the more money they give pastor, and then pastor buy, an apartment complex and a commercial real estate, and then some houses. just rental homes, and then some businesses. And while the people are at the church are giving their tithes and offerings, somehow, you know, pastors getting checks from the apartment complex, from the commercial real estate, from the daycare, from the liquor store, from the corner store he got, from the gas station. Okay, but it's all Jesus. Like y'all better y'all don't get it half the time. It's just a hustle, man. Hate to say that, but it's a hustle. People are out for themselves. And that's why I even brought that up, because people use Jesus and God as a crutch. Is the reason God looked out for me. Okay, so God looked out for you, and so what you trying to say? You just happen to be the lucky one that God looked out for, and all the other people that's struggling and suffering, God like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't like you like I liked him. Okay, that's what we talking about. All right. Just like if you read the Bible, man, or the Quran, or the Torah, you know, it's basically a book of people that say God looked out for me. You know, that's what they saying. God looked after me. God made me a part of this. It's like, okay, but you got to understand something. It's over what? It's over a very long period of time. So it wasn't like God looked out for one person. God looked out for a gang of people, men and women, in big ways and small ways. You know. But this idea that everybody needs to feel special is the problem. Everybody ain't special, man. Sorry. Like, I'm gonna say this: everybody is special because everybody's a unique person, but everybody ain't special to believe just because you're here, you're better than other people. You know. Yeah, man. One of the reasons why I don't even talk about a religion as much is because I think overly religious people don't really believe in God. That's just my 2 cents. I think overly religious people use God as a crutch to not actually be the best person they can be. Because everything becomes God's responsibility. Yeah, I'm not bad. Oh, you right about that, KG. R.I.P. to D'Angelo, man. I feel sorry for like the kids, man. You know, the son that lost his mother and his father in the same year. But D'Angelo had other kids. I saw his daughter put up a post. Gone but not forgotten, man. Gone but not forgotten. And even speaking just on a friend level, shout out to Raphael Sadiq, because one of the, brother from Tony passed, which is like his cousin. And I know him and D'Angelo is really cool. So, yeah, man, that tough for all the people involved in that. All the people involved. You know. Made me, yeah, I should have said that earlier. I appreciate that, KG. But shit, man. I'm an hour in, man. Let me get out of here, man. Let me do some things. Take care of my wife. Y'all have a good one. Let me see what this fool wrote in this comment. This one. Hold up. That's a religious. Man, it ain't just religious hoes, dog. I wish it was, but it ain't. So, look, matter of fact, I'm going to go on this tangent before I go. I'm well in, so I can cuss now, right? You know, religion is the final form for fuck niggas, too. And when I say that, I don't mean all races are fuck niggas. Let me just be real about it. Religion is their final form, too. That's why you hear these niggas talking that bullshit. I'm a Christian. I'm a God-fearing man. You a fuck nigga. And now you trying to hide behind God. Same thing when you see these cats get on here. Religion is the final form because the form before that is political. When niggas get to the people out in the hood doing this, they're doing drugs, they in gangs. Nigga, you was doing drugs and in a gang. I could tell by your face. I could tell by your teeth. I could tell by your eyes. I could tell by your tattoos. You the nigga you talking about. So you got political now to say you don't like you 10 years ago. And then when the politics run out their system, then they become religious. Because on the left, it's not as religious. On the right, you get super religious. And then when you go, oh, I've been a hateful little bitch while I've been in this religion. I'm going to just find God for real. Religion is the final form for fuck niggas, too. You know, that's the same thing with, Steven Crowder's and you see Brandon Tatum, fuck niggas. Candace Owens, you cooning and Christian, you a fuck nigga. And you see people like Kevin Gates, man, black people kill black people all the time. If you don't shut your bitch ass up, you gonna say some shit like that and then talk about how much dope you sold and how many people you shot and how many girls you trying to fuck at the end of the night while you married. Shut your bitch ass up. But now I believe in Allah. Man, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. But now I'm gonna call it the end. Y'all have a good one now. Peace.